Thank you, sir. Good morning, good evening, students. Yeah, so we have today the topic of value of supply. So last class we had discussed on time of supply, saying that when is the GST payable. Today we'll discuss on what value your GST is payable. Okay, good. So you students, I think last Thursday I had a class and I could see a lot of students are missing and we could see them coming in over here. For people who have missed out the last session, I could see their names who are not there in the last session. You could see the video recording of it because the time of supply is a very easy chapter. And just if you glance through and just see my notes, I think that chapter is done. So go through the notes and also go through the video lecture so that you'll understand the topic in detail. Because if you don't understand that, then it might be a problem because you might get consolidated questions in your exam. So I would suggest that you go through the video also. Okay. Well, Jnanish, your question is receipt of advance in relation to supply of goods, whether under RCM and FCM. Please explain again in short. Okay. So basically on receipt of goods, on in relation to receipt of advance for supply of goods is taxable or not taxable. For goods, it is not taxable at all, neither under forward charge nor under reverse charge. किसी के ऊपर tax नहीं लगेगा, Dhyanish. The reason is when I supply, there is tax, but on advance, there is no tax. But the time of supply said that you receive advance or issue invoice, whichever is earlier, you have to pay GST. But for goods, then they came up with the exemption saying that for goods only, if you have received any advance, but goods have not supplied, don't pay tax on the advance basis. Okay, it's only for goods. But when you raise an invoice, you have to charge normal charge, forward charge itself. So that is a concept of supply of goods and advance. So to put it in a nutshell, on receipt of advance against supply of goods, no tax is payable. It will be payable once the invoice is raised and it will be payable under forward charge itself. Clear? Kindly explain, test your knowledge, question number 3. Alok, question number 3, part 3. Okay, let me just open this. From which chapter? I think you're saying time of supply itself. Because you have time. Okay. Since you have covered time of supply, I'm assuming you are asking about time of supply itself. So question number 3, part 3 is saying, determine the time of supply in the following cases. First is the date of receipt of goods is on 1st July. Date of payment by the recipient of the goods is part payment is made on June 30th and balance amount is paid on July 20th. Okay, the sale date of receipt of goods is 1st July. Part payment is made one day before 30th June and balance is on 20th July. Date of issue of invoice is 29th June. So in this case, what is the, assuming that GST is payable under reverse charge. Okay. So point number 3, we have 3 aspects. When it is received, okay, date of receipt of goods, part payment, and date of issue of invoice. Now, on the RCM, what is the date we have to consider? Date immediately following 30 days from the date of issue of invoice. When is the invoice raised? On 29th June. 30 days is 30th July. Correct? So, time of supply is earliest of receipt of goods or payment or 30 days from the date of issue of invoice, whichever is earlier. So, in this case, 30th June is the part payment. So for and there are 2 payments. So for 30th June, the part payment is for that part payment, 30th June is the time. For the second part payment, again, you will see either 1st July or 20th July or 30th July, whichever is earlier. So the earliest is 1st July. So for the second part, it will be 1st July. You have to break it up into 2, then you will understand this. Is it clear, Alok? So basically, it is two questions. For part payment, you'll consider one date, then you'll compare the three things: date of receipt of goods, payment, or 30 days from the date of invoice, whichever is earlier. Okay. Then for the second part, again, you will see date of receipt of goods, payment, or 30 days from the date of issue invoice, whichever is earlier. These three things. Exemption notes not uploaded. Exemption notes have been uploaded, Danish. Just check once again. Okay. Can we get into the value of supply now? Okay. What is value of supply? Basically, GST is levied under Section 9. It says that there shall be levied a tax on the value which is as determined. Now, this value is determined under Section 15. Okay, so Section 15 says what is the value, and it shall be taxable at the specified rates. That is what is the value of supply, and the rate provision which says that GST is levied under Section 9 on value which is determined under Section 15. So the valuation section under GST is Section 15, and it shall be taxable at the specified rate. Abhi jo specified rate hai, that is given in the notifications. Okay. Now, what kind of duty this could be? This duty could be ad valorem or specific duty. Okay. Generally, not for GST. I'm just saying for any duty to be charged, what are the methods which has been adopted? It could be ad valorem or specific duty, which means the value, the GST tax can be collected on the value of the goods. So if I'm selling it at 1 lakh rupees, it could be taxed on that 1 lakh at some percentage. That is called ad valorem. So on what value I make a transaction, on that duty could be charged, or it could be a specific duty. Specific duty means it will not be based on the value. It will be based on some other variable which is other than value. Like example of cigarettes. Cigarettes are sold, so the excise duty was charged not on the value of the cigarettes, but on the size of the cigarettes. So if it was 15 mm, then the excise duty was this much. If it was 20 mm, then the excise duty was based on the length. So it was not based on the value, it was based on the product. That is called specific duty. So under GST, they could have done one of these methods. Apne GST mein what they have taken based on ad valorem. So based on the value of the goods, this charge, GST is charged on ad valorem basis. Okay. Pranav, what is your question? I didn't understand. Okay, before that, we'll understand few definitions which is important under GST and which is relevant for value of supply. First is definition of agent. So what is an agent? Who is an agent? Agent is an agent generally, right? But that is also being defined taki there is no confusion under GST. So the GST law is made it such a simple in your practice, also in a practical life. So when you get into practice, most of the terms will be defined under GST law itself, so that later on there is no interpretational issues. So they have tried to explain the definitions to the extent possible. Now, what is the definition of agent? Okay. Agent means a factor or a broker. Basically, these are all the words which we interchangeably use. So there's nothing new in this. Agent means a factor or a broker or a commission agent or a arhatya or a del credar agent or an auctioneer or a mercantile agent. So if they ask you definition of agent, you have to mention all of these terms. Who is an agent? Agent is a factor, broker, commission agent, arhatya, del credar agent, auctioneer, or a mercantile agent. To put it in simple terms, I've used the acronym ABCDFM. A stands for Arhatya, B stands for broker, stands for commission agent, D stands for Del Credar agent. A is repeated twice, so A is for Arhatya and auctioneer. ABCD, FM means factor, and M means mercantile agent. So any of these persons, because there was a confusion whether auctioneer also is an agent because he's doing auctioning, he's not a direct agent, but he's selling on behalf of the principal. That's the reason auctioneer is also an agent. So all of these people who carry on the business of supply of goods or services on behalf of another, on behalf of whom? On behalf of the principal, whatever transaction they do, and they sell or they buy on behalf of the principal, they are called as agent. That's simple. So very easy. If you get a question of this, then it's very easy for you to understand and to write it. Okay. Now let's get into this definition of consideration. We have seen this before also. We are seeing this again. So this consideration is really important. Consideration means payment in money or otherwise for the supply. Payment in money or otherwise. So transaction could be in money or non-money for the supply by recipient or any other person. And it also includes a monetary value of any act or forbearance for supply. Okay. And so basically two things. It is first is payment in money or otherwise for the supply. And it could be any monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply by the recipient or any other person. So they've broken it up very clearly. What is consideration? Consideration is payment in money or non-money also. So consideration need not always be in money. It could be in non-money terms also, or it could be any monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply by the recipient or any other person, excluding subsidy which is given by central government and state government. So subsidy given by central government, state government is not a consideration, and deposit is to be considered as a payment. So this is a consolidated thing wherein deposit is to be considered as a payment only when the supplier applies such deposit as consideration for the said supply. So only when the supplier applies such deposit as a consideration, then deposits becomes consideration. Otherwise, deposit is not a consideration. So simple terms, what is consideration? Is payment in money or otherwise for the supply and monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply. Then some exclusion and inclusions. Okay. So this is the definition of consideration. Now, what is money? Money is the Indian legal tender or foreign currency, check, promissory note, bill of exchange, letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler's check, money order, postal electronic remittance or any other instrument. तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि money का definition पूछेंगे. This is only for your understanding because it's such a lengthy thing. The important thing to be considered is these two things. When it is used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination. Okay. So when money is used as a consideration to settle, when any of these documents like a check is used as a consideration to settle an obligation, of course, all of these things we use as a settlement thing itself. So that's what they've defined. It is a check or money order or foreign currency or Indian currency when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination. If I give 100 rupees notes and you give me 10 rupees notes, that is still money itself because you're just doing an exchange transaction. Okay. So this money is when you pay for a consideration or you do an exchange, that is money, but it excludes currency held for its numismatic value. मतलब जो भी currency, you're holding it for its numismatic value because it's had some unique features like the numbers are very unique or it has some relevance or it's an old note. When it is held as a numismatic value, then you will not tell it as a money because it carries a different value for itself. Like a 5 rupees coin, which is very unique. You can sell it for 50 rupees or 100 rupees. So then you cannot tell I have sold the 5 rupees for 50 rupees, so no GST is payable. It will still be payable because it is not a transaction of money. It has its own value. Okay, that is the definition of money. UPI credit card is also money. Yes, these are also money because these are all the transactions which is transferred, which is credit card is also money because either use of bank transfers. These are all types of bank transfers. So what does deposit mean here? Is it deposit in bank or otherwise? No. This deposit, what they say is deposit which I give to my supplier. So if I have to buy goods from him, he doesn't have guarantee that I will make payment or no. So he says first, before I do any transactions, you give me a deposit of 5 lakh rupees. Now this 5 lakh I'll deposit with him so that I can do any business. Now this deposit is kept within him itself, and this is not used for the sale transaction. Whatever he sells, for that I will pay the consideration separately. Okay, so on this deposit, it is returnable to me. So this deposit is not called as consideration. Now, when this deposit will become consideration is when I default or the supplier itself uses the deposit against the sale, saying the sale is done and I have not given him money for 3 months. Then he will adjust the deposit for the sale consideration. That when adjustment it happens, that is when deposit will be treated as consideration. Okay. Numismatic value like that of a note of rupees 1000 wouldn't say 1000 rupees is held for its numismatic value, because dealing in 1000 rupees note itself is illegal, because it is banned completely, right? It is not treated as a legal currency. So if you're selling 1000 rupees, then it's an illegal transaction. I am saying, Priyanka, the example of numismatic values where a document or a currency is legal and it is held for some of its unique features, that is called as a numismatic value. What is the difference between check and traveler's check? Check is when you give to other party. Traveler's check is when you can use it when you're in a trip outside India and you can exchange it for the local currency or the foreign currency of that country. एक्सक्लूडिंग को हिंदी में कैसे बताएंगे? करेंसी हेल्ड फॉर इट्स न्यूमिस्मेटिक वैल्यू, मतलब जो भी नोट है, ठीक है, जैसे एक 500 रुपए का नोट है जिसमें नंबर्स यूनिक है, आप उसको बेच रहे हो, कितने में बेचोगे? कोई खरीदने वाला कि उसका डेट ऑफ बर्थ वहां पे है, ठीक है, जैसे मेरा डेट ऑफ बर्थ का नंबर करेंसी पे है तो मैं उसको रखूंगा, मैं उसको ज्यादा कंसिडरेशन भी दूंगा, तो वो उसके लिए जो बेचने वाला है वो 500 के नोट को सिर्फ 5000 में बेचता है। जब वो 5000 पे बेचता है तब वो ये नहीं बोल सकता है कि ये मनी ट्रांजैक्शन है और इसके ऊपर मैं टैक्स नहीं पे करूंगा, ये जीएसटी के बाहर है क्योंकि ये मनी जीएसटी के बाहर है। वो ऐसे नहीं कह सकता क्योंकि जो भी नोट्स वो न्यूमिस्मेटिक वैल्यू के लिए रखता है उसका वैल्यू आ जाता है, वो मनी नहीं कहा जाएगा। दैट इज व्हाट इज एक्सक्लूडेड हियर। ओके, क्लियर पुष्पा कुमारी? Crypto is also money. They have not clarified on the crypto aspect. Neither the income tax has some clarity, neither the GST has some clarity. Crypto I wouldn't say it's a transaction in money, because it's like I wouldn't say it's a security also, because it's not defined under security. So crypto is a transaction wherein you're only buying something as an asset and selling it. Now, what is crypto under GST? There is no clarification as on today. GP is recognized, Google Pay is recognized by RBI. Yes, it is recognized by RBI because all of that is linked to UPI. Okay. Now, but you cannot say cryptocurrency is currency held for its numismatic value. This you cannot say because it's not a currency at all. Crypto is a currency. Using the word cryptocurrency itself is wrong because crypto is not a currency. Currency is something which is recognized by any law, but crypto is not recognized by any law. So this is not a currency. Postal remittance, yes, this is also transaction in money. That's it. No? Postal electronic remittance, everything is covered. Money order, pay order. So postal remittance is coming under pay order itself. Clear? Digital currency by RBI, once it comes, we'll see. If it does not come, we don't know the tax treatment of it. Okay. Also, the relevant part is related persons. We have studied this, but we will also read this again because if you make any transaction with related person, then your normal valuations will not apply. That's why the definition of related persons is important. Okay. Related persons are such persons are officers or directors of one another's business. Such persons are legally recognized partners in a business, or such persons are employer and employee of a company, or any person directly or indirectly owns, controls, or holds 25% or more of the outstanding voting stock. Matlab 25% of the equity he has. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person. and together they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family. So in these cases, they would be treated as related persons. So if you have, and the eighth definition which is included is one of them is a sole agent or sole distributor of the another, not any agent. So once we have defined the definition of agent, any agent is a related person, that cannot be said if he's a sole agent. So that means that he is the only agent and there is exclusivity given to him. Then you will treat him as a related person. Now it could be a sole agent, it could be a sole distributor or a sole concessioner. Any of these is there, then it will be treated as a related persons. Okay. इंडियन लीगल टेंडर क्या है? जो आप नोट्स है, कॉइन्स है, आपके पास पैसे हैं ना, तो 5 रुपए के कॉइन्स, 10 रुपए के नोट, 50 रुपए के नोट, जो भी करंट लीगली यूज करते हैं उसे कहते हैं इंडियन लीगल टेंडर. व्हाट इज लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट? लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट इज जब मैं कुछ सेल करता हूं, ओके, बैंकर एक लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट देता है कि अगर ये बंदा नहीं पैसे देगा तो मैं गारंटी देता हूं. दैट इज द लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट विच इज इक्वल टू मनी बिकॉज आई हैव टू गिव दैट मनी टू द बैंक. ठीक है. सोल कंसेशनर मतलब जो सोल कंसेशनर मीन्स द पर्सन हु इज सोलली सेलिंग माई गुड्स. Okay, so he is giving the exclusive right to distribute and sell. He is a sole concessioner. So these are the related persons with whom we have transaction and the value is influenced. So valuation, once we have understood the definitions, so now you are clear, no? Before getting into fifth standard, you have to go to first standard, second standard, third standard, fourth, and then fifth. So we have got into the definitions. We have understood the definitions well. Now we'll get into the fifth standard. Now we'll get into the valuation. Now I sell something. Okay, I sell ice cream. Now to one person, I will sell at the MRP. But if my friend is coming, then I'm selling at a lower price because he's my friend. No, I have to give him some discount. Otherwise, friendship will not be there. Generally, he will tell, what is this? Why are you selling me at the same price? Give me some concession. So I will sell him at a less price. Then if a foreigner comes, I will sell him at a higher price because I have that capacity to sell it at a higher price. So I will sell it. Because on ice creams, there is no MRP as such. First thing what I said is MRP, that's wrong. I will have a list price. So on list price is my list price. The government is not giving a rule saying that you have to have a list price. I am only having a list price so that if I am not at the store, my assistant who is there, he can see the list price and sell it. So if a foreigner comes, I will sell him at a higher price. So whether all of this is correct or not correct, that is a different question. But for GST, you have done this transaction. All of this is legal because whatever price I say and the other person accepts, it is a transaction, it is a contract. Because under Indian Contract Act, the seller has to offer and the receiver has to accept. Once both of them have agreed, then it is a contract. I can agree at any price. Now, for the same product, I'm charging three prices. In this, like in the example what I gave, there are three prices which are being charged. So GST has to be charged on what? Will it be always on list price, or will it be on discounted price, or will it be on the price what I've charged excess to the foreigner? Will GST be charged at a fixed price or no, is what we'll discuss. Correct? So we are discussing that aspect, saying that whatever transaction happens, what is the GST payable? We understood in the first and second slide itself, GST is leviable on what? It is leviable on ad valorem basis. Matlab, whatever is the value of goods, on that GST is charged, which makes it clear that even if I sell at differential pricing, GST has to be based on that value itself. Okay, that brings us to the first part of section 15.1, which says that transaction value, which is the price actually paid or payable for the supply. Okay, now whatever is the transaction I have taken place, on this transaction, what price I have charged, that becomes the transaction value. So if you have a fixed kind of a price, a list price, that doesn't matter. On the list price, you have kept it for your own convenience. GST law didn't tell you to keep a list price. You have kept it for your convenience. Keep that list price. If you have given a discount, and you have charged less, then the lower price becomes your transaction value. So charge GST, levy GST on this lower price. If you have given it a list price, then charge GST at the list price. If you have charged at a higher price, then pay me GST on that. So that is called as transaction value. What value you have agreed with your customer, on that pay the GST. Now, when can I use transaction value? In every situation, I can use the transaction value subject to these conditions. Matlab, it should be not related party, and it should be a transaction which is with a not related party, and price should be the sole consideration. Matlab, I should deal with non-related parties. The definition of related parties, what we saw, if I'm dealing with those parties, then I cannot get into transaction value. Because if it is a related party, there will be a influential price. So that is really doubtful whether you're selling at the right price. या मेरा related party है, so I will charge at a lower price than what I charge to the customer. Then GST will be paid less. So that is possible in case of a related party, because they will also agree for selling at a lower price, and I will also agree for buying at a lower price. So that entity overall in a related party transaction, the tax is getting saved. Okay, but that doesn't happen in unrelated party, because if you're selling it to a non-related party, you will want the correct consideration. So the government is saying, what in case of an unrelated party transaction, if you are agreeing at a discount or if you're agreeing at any price, I am okay with it because you are not related. So the transaction value I'll consider. So the first point is it should be with a non-related party. Second point is the price should be the sole consideration. Means if I'm selling something, you will pay me the price of it, then it's fine. If you're paying me anything other than the price, like in case of the example of chartered accountants supplying service to a doctor, I am supplying chartered accountant services. He is supplying me some doctor services. He's providing me some treatment. So there is a price for this which is getting exchanged. That's fine. But apart from the price, if he has to do something for me, apart from price, there is some consideration which I've received from him, then it is not the transaction value, because it will be influence pricing. Then say I supply a mobile phone, right? I am a seller of mobile phone. I'm supplying mobile phone. I'm selling at 10,000 rupees. Now the other person agrees at 10,000, no problem. Then that 10,000 is the value. But instead of 10,000, he said that I will also do some kind of a painting, because he's a painter. So he says that I will give painting free of service to you. So you charge me lower price. So for this 10,000 mobile, I will charge him only 4,000 rupees, and I will say 6,000 I will not include in the bill. I will only mention 4,000 rupees. So this price is not the sole consideration here, because apart from 4,000 rupees, the price, the basic price, is applying another service to me. So the value is not, the price is not the sole consideration in this, because some other service is also involved. So the price is not the sole consideration, and he's not a related party still. But I cannot use that 4,000 as the transaction value, because the price is not the sole consideration in this. His services to me is also the another consideration. So in this example, 4,000 cannot be considered as the transaction value. So I cannot use the transaction value in this case. Clear till now? So A is holding company of B and B is C. So A and C are related person. Yes, they are related person. For example, shop for clothes are not fixed. Yes, that is a good example of differential pricing and transaction value. Sir, I didn't get you. If we supply to a related person at a concession or discount, we have to pay tax for the market value of goods sold to related persons. Don't get into that, Kanakarini. What I'm saying is, if we supply to a related person, then whatever price you sell him cannot be considered as a transaction value. It will not be the value on which you will pay the GST. You will have to do something else. What you will do is what we will see next. So in case of a related party, if you're giving at a concession or discount, or if you're not giving concession or discount also, the government looks at from a binocular, and it says that if you make a transaction with a related party, whatever price you're charging, don't consider that as the base for paying GST. That's all I'm saying. Then what has to be considered, we'll see next. Okay. But in case of a related party, the transaction value will not be the sole value, because for getting into transaction value, you should enter with non-related persons and price should not be the sole consideration. Okay. So section 15 of which act do we need to write? Section 15 of Central Goods and Services Tax Act. We are talking on CGST Act itself. If supplier sold goods to non-related persons and he charged very less consideration, then what price GST is to be charged? No problem. If supplier sold to non-related person and price is the sole consideration, he's charged at very low price. Still fine. That price what he's charged, that will be the transaction value. Clear? That is transaction value. Now, when do we go to section 15.1? We'll go to section 15.1 when transaction is between two persons who are not related to each another and price is the sole consideration. Then value of supply is the transaction value. Understood? No? What is the transaction value? Transaction value means the price which is actually paid or payable, which means I have a mention which is paid now or payable later, but which is agreed, correct? Because at the time of supply itself, he'll say, okay, I'll pay you 10,000 now, 5,000 later on. But the value is decided as 15,000 rupees. So that's why it says price actually paid or payable for this transaction. What is the value? That will be treated as the value for section 15.1, which means transaction value. Now 15.2 says that, okay, you have entered into transaction value. Now there you have to do some inclusions and some exclusions, because it is possible that in the normal business transactions, you enter into these things. So this has to be included. What is to be included? Duties and taxes other than GST if charged separately. Duties and taxes other than GST if it is charged separately. Okay. Then means what? Apart from GST, if I collect any other taxes for this supply, say there is a supply on which some municipal tax has to be paid. So if some taxes I'm paying on behalf of the customer for this transaction, then that I will include. On that also GST has to be paid. Sir, you said under GST tax on tax, cascading effect is all gone. I said so. But the section says that wherever you include any taxes, you incur any taxes under other laws, that gets lost. So on that also you have to pay GST. Taxes on taxes is there. Yes, to this extent, taxes on taxes is there. Okay. So any duties and taxes which I pay other than GST has to be included. Then what is the second thing I will include? Interest, late fees, penalty for delayed consideration. Okay. Interest, late fees, penalty, IPL, what we had discussed, that also becomes the transaction value. Because why? Why am I paying interest? I'm paying interest because I have made a defaulted the payment on time for the sale. Had I not made the sale transaction, I would not have a right to collect interest. So this interest is related to this sale. So I will include any interest, late fees or penalty on for as a transaction value. Then payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay. Supplier has supplied something. For this, the recipient, instead of paying to me, he said that I'll pay to your vendor for one transaction what you have done. Okay. Like example, I have manufactured a furniture. For the furniture manufacturer, the purchaser said that I don't trust you what kind of wood you will buy. I will buy the wood on your behalf and give it to you. So the buyer is buying the wood and he's giving it to me. I will do all the other work of assembling, crafting, and polishing and other things. So will I say only this crafting and polishing charges I levy because wood is the main portion? No, because wood also is the value for this. So payment, had I purchased from the furniture from the wooden guy, I would have paid him. On my behalf, the purchaser has paid. So this has to be included. Okay. So even if it is between a related person, unrelated person, and he is made payment on my behalf to somebody else, that has to be included. Then price linked subsidy other than given by government means any subsidy if I get, now I am supplying books Okay, say on books there is GST and I'm supplying it to a school. Now there is one NGO saying that, okay, I want to help this school, and the school cannot afford to pay 40 rupees for your books. So you charge them 25 rupees, 15 rupees I will pay. So the value of the books is 40 rupees only. Consideration is coming from two people, 25 rupees from the school, 15 rupees from this person. So my value is totally 25 plus 15, 40 rupees itself. GST is the value on which GST should paid will become 40. So this uh, price linked subsidy which I'm getting, saying that on the supply include reduce it. This is called as price linked subsidy. So on this price linked subsidy, if I'm getting from government, had I got this from government, then I would charge GST on only 25. But if I'm getting this consideration of price linked subsidy of 15 rupees from non-government any person, then I have to include it. Clear? Then incidental expenses charged by the supplier at the time of supply or before delivery. Matlab, anything like delivery charges, packing charges, testing charges, quality testing charges, if I'm incurring, that also has to be included. So in the transaction value, what are the five things I will include? I will include duties and taxes other than GST, payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay, interest, late fees and penalty, price link subsidy given by non-government entities, incidental expenses charged at the time of supply or before delivery. These are the things I will include. What is to be excluded? What I have to remove? Any discount, whatever I give, any discount before or at the time of supply. Sales may have said, no, I have in that first, if my friend comes, I've given some discount. So 100 rupees value of the goods, 20 rupees discount. So what has to be excluded? 20 rupees discount has to be excluded. And the value for consideration is 100 minus 20, 80 rupees. So any discount given before or at the time of supply has to be excluded. This is deductible from value. Then any discount given after supply, any discount before or at the time of supply has to be excluded because you will mention it in the invoice. And any discount given after supply, if it is agreed before time of supply, then it is deductible if it is linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient. Okay. Any discount given after supply, before supply, it will be mentioned in the invoice. And if it is given after the supply is made, and then later if I give discount, then also it is allowed. When it is allowed, if it is linked to the invoice, it should be agreed. First of all, it should be agreed. If it is unagreed, then it will not be there. It should be agreed before or at the time of supply. And it should be linked to the invoice because later on, how will you give that? You have to give a linkage to the invoice. So you will link it to the invoice and you'll give it to the customer and ITC because when I sold, I will charge GST. He's claimed the credit. Now I'm reducing the price. That much input tax credit he should reverse. Logical, no? When I've sold, he's taken the credit. When I'm reducing the sale price, he should reverse the credit. That's fine. So ITC should be reversed by the recipient. And if it is not agreed, wherein I'm giving him a discount, but we didn't agree with it, I'm just giving him a discount, then it is not deductible. So it should be agreed and should be linked to the invoice and ITC should be reversed by the recipient. In that case, deductions will be there. Okay. Questions till now, because if you understand this, I will explain in detail. This is the basic thing. If you just keep this chart, you will understand the topic of taxation, topic of value of supply. Entertainment tax, very good. So that's another example when tax will be included. Duties and taxes are same or not? It is used interchangeably. It is the same. Please explain payment incurred by recipient for which supplier is liable to pay. Geet Chauhan, I gave that example of furniture. Did you understand now? So section 15(2) को हिंदी में बता दो. हिंदी में ठीक है. वैल्यू ऑफ जो टैक्सेबल सप्लाई है, जो भी मैं प्राइस अग्री करता हूं मेरे कस्टमर के साथ जो अनरिलेटेड है, वो हो जाएगा वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई. अब इसमें कुछ चीजें ऐड करनी पड़ेगी. क्या क्या ऐड करेंगे? ड्यूटीज और टैक्सेस, जो भी जीएसटी के अलावा मैं टैक्सेस ऐड करता हूं, जैसे एंटरटेनमेंट टैक्स हो गया या कुछ भी म्युनिसिपल टैक्स हो गया, जैसे मैं कुछ कंस्ट्रक्शन करता हूँ, एफएसएसआई चाहिए मेरे को, मैं सिर्फ कस्टमर के लिए कुछ बना हूँ, स्पेशल परमिशन एफएसएसआई से चाहिए. अब वो टैक्सेस में जो गवर्नमेंट को भरता हूँ, मैं बोलूंगा कस्टमर को आपको मुझे देना है फिर से. सो वो वैल्यू जो ऐड करूंगा वो भी इसे जीएसटी वैल्यू में ऐड करना पड़ेगा. फिर इंटरेस्ट, लेट फीस, पेनाल्टी, ये आप समझ गए. जो भी ब्याज है, लेट फाइलिंग फीस है, पेनाल्टी में चार्ज करता हूँ, वो भी वैल्यू में इंक्लूड करना पड़ेगा. देन पेमेंट इंकर्ड बाय रिसिपिएंट व्हेन सप्लायर इज लायबल टू पे. मेरे बिहाफ अगर कुछ मेरा कस्टमर कुछ पे करता है, ठीक है, जैसे मैं एक नया प्रोडक्ट बनाऊं, उसके लिए डाइस चाहिए, मतलब मशीनरी खरीदनी है, मशीनरी के लिए थोड़े मोल्ड्स बनाने पड़ते हैं, ये मोल्ड्स कस्टमर ही अपने डायरेक्ट वेंडर को पे कर देता है, तो इस वैल्यू को भी मुझे ऐड करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर वो नहीं पे करेगा तो मुझे तो मेरे वेंडर को पे करना पड़ेगा, तो ये डाई का चार्जेस भी ऐड करना पड़ेगा। देन सब्सिडी कुछ मिलता है मुझे, जैसे मैंने वो एग्जाम्पल बताया, 40 रुपए की बुक है, 25 रुपए कस्टमर मुझे पे कर रहा है, 15 रुपए मुझे कोई एनजीओ पे कर रही है, तो मेरा वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगा, 25 और 15 40 रुपए। लेकिन यही 15 अगर गवर्नमेंट देती है तो ऐड करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि प्राइस लिंक सब्सिडी अदर देन गवर्नमेंट को ही ऐड करना है, ठीक है। फिर इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस, कुछ भी इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस बिफोर सप्लाई या बिफोर डिलीवरी, एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई बिफोर डिलीवरी, मतलब डिलीवरी चार्जेस हो गया, पैकिंग चार्जेस, इसको ऐड करना पड़ेगा। सो इन 5 चीजों को ऐड करना है। What is the meaning if linked to invoice and price link subsidy? मतलब if I get, there are two types of subsidy. Somebody is giving me a bulk subsidy saying that, okay, you're doing good as a business, I will give you 50,000 rupees. Now, this is not linked to my price. It is a general subsidy which I'm getting, or it's called as a blanket subsidy, which is not linked to the price. But if I'm getting a amount from anybody which is linked to the price, means I have to reduce my price, and each price they are negotiating, or they saying that I will give you a subsidy based on the price, based on the number of items which you sell. This is called as price link subsidy. Got it? अगर कोई डिस्काउंट दे रहा है तो कोई अग्री क्यों नहीं होगा? कोई अग्री नहीं, मैं अग्री नहीं करूंगा। अगर मैं सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, अगर आई हैव अग्रीड एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई की ये डिस्काउंट देना है, तो ठीक है। अगर मैं अग्री नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं हमने अग्री नहीं किया है दोनों ने कि आपको डिस्काउंट मिलेगा, ये अनसर्टन है, तो उसे रिड्यूस नहीं किया जाएगा। दिस इज कॉल्ड एज कमर्शियल डिस्काउंट। अगर टैक्सेबल डिस्काउंट है तो फिर उसको रिड्यूस करेंगे, लेकिन अदर देन टैक्सेबल डिस्काउंट कुछ और डिस्काउंट है, उसे कमर्शियल डिस्काउंट कहते हैं, वो उसका वैल्यू हम रिड्यूस नहीं करेंगे। सर आफ्टर सप्लाई डिस्काउंट क्यों देते हैं, कोई एग्जांपल बता दे। ठीक है, तो आई एम अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, आई टेल दैट I will supply goods to you. If you buy, I will see how much is the volume of transactions in 1 year. If you are buying minimum of 2 lakh quantity of goods, then if you have bought for the whole year 2 lakh quantity of goods, then I will give you a discount of 5%. If you have bought 3 lakh quantity of goods, then I'll give you 10% discount. So this price at the time of supply, I cannot give you this discount, because it is based on your performance and based on your purchases for the year. Okay, so this is not linked to my invoice. In my invoice today, what I can give some discount on the value of goods, but these special kind of discounts, these are called as volume discount. Based on how much volume you purchase, your discount varies. So I agree that I will give you this discount. Okay, so you are also in agreement with this, and you also know that, okay, you have to achieve this target, then you will get better discounts. So this is called as volume discount, or discount which is agreed at a time of supply. And when I give them this discount, I will link it to the invoices and then I will give them. So this is a discount which you can reduce. But if I'm giving them a discount as a seasonal basis, not based on volume, and it is not agreed at the time of supply, then this is a discount which is not agreed at the time of supply. Okay, Diwali aa gayi thi, but I want to encourage him, I'm giving him a discount. So this is a example of a discount which is not linked to the supply. Okay. Cess is also included. Cess is also excluded. So when you say GST and other taxes, duties of taxes other than GST, it means cess also is not included. So cess you will not include in the transaction value. Section 15.1. Okay. Explain the 15.3 deductible if linked to the invoice and IT reversed, that I've explained already. Price sole consideration means price is the sole Mogapalli Swati. What I'm saying is price is a sole consideration. Only price is the thing. Apart from price, if some other value or some other thing is there, then it means your price is not the sole consideration. Price is the sole consideration now when you're selling something. Only this value is what is the thing you have agreed at and nothing else. Like the example of any kind of marketing he has to do or any kind of painting he has to do. In that case, price is not the sole consideration. Then the value what you're charging will not be the transaction value. Okay. Kanaya Singh, sir, I paid early cash payment and received discounts, which were not mentioned in the invoice. If this were not mentioned in the invoice, for which you will, it's generally agreed, right? So it is agreed at the time of supply is if you make payment within 15 days, I will give you a cash discount. And if you pay after 15 days, I will not give you any discount. Within 15 days, I've made the payment. This is agreed. Agreement need not be a written agreement. Okay, keep that in mind. Agreement need not be a written agreement. It can be a oral agreement also. So once I have entered into a contract with the customer saying that you pay within 15 days, you'll give a cash discount. How will I give a cash discount? For invoice sales, I will raise a sales invoice. For this invoice, for this discount of cash discount, I will raise a credit note. In this credit note, I will mention cash discount based on this sales invoice. So this will be reduced. So this discount is deductible. So at the time of sale invoice, the time of sale, I didn't know will he get discount. I will charge the full GST of 1 lakh rupees. Now he's paid to me on time, 5% discount I have to give. For this 5%, I will raise a debit note, report in the portal, and he will reverse to the extent of 5,000 because on this full 1 lakh rupees, he had taken the credit, correct? Now, be 5,000 pay, he will reduce his input tax credit to that extent. So this is permissible. So you're telling that if discount is given before or at the time of supply of good, it is deductible, but it is not allowed if it is allowed for seasonal supply. Correct. For seasonal supply, I'm selling seasonal discount. If I am giving a seasonal discount which is not given at the time of supply and it is not agreed at the time of supply. So this is falling under this category where the seasonal discount is not agreed, then it is not deductible. It is an example of not deductible. ITC part, ITC is when I supply to him, he will claim the full credit. But when the value is reduced, that much credit he has to reverse. That is the meaning of a discount, which I have given him later after the supply, and it is agreed at, then he has to reverse the credit. Then for me also, the value gets reduced. Okay. This we have understood. Now, adjustment to transaction value. Again, a recapitulation. What are the other values which we add? This price link subsidies. Okay, we will add it. But if it is given by government, then we don't add it. Then interest, late fees, penalty, we will add it. Any kind of incidental expenses. What are these incidental expenses? Some things like commission, okay, or packing, any alteration, or say I've supplied something and this person needs some alteration, then I supply. So any alteration what I charge has to be included in the value. Testing done before delivery of the goods has to be included. Subsidies given by only central government and state government is excluded. Apart from central government and state government, if you receive from anybody else, then it has to be included. Then payment to third parties, which is payment on my behalf made by the purchaser, is to be included, and any other taxes other than GST, all other taxes has to be included. What is excluded? Pre-sale discounts, post-sale discount if it is invoice linked, and in that case, recipient has to reverse the ITC. Clear? Please explain debit and credit note, which you were talking about. Okay. That brings to me the concept of debit note and credit note. When I raise an invoice, it is a proof of the sale which has taken place. Fine. So sale invoice, we know any transaction when we do under GST, even under earlier laws, any transaction you do, you have to raise a sale invoice. Now in the sale invoice, if there's a mistake, okay, if the sale invoice, if there's a mistake, say 1,20,000 I had to charge, I have charged him only 1 lakh rupees. Now 20,000 mistake, I cannot change the invoice because I've already given him the invoice. So what can you do with 20,000? Forget it because you have made a mistake. Now you suffer. Can that be said? It's a transaction which is envisageable, or it could be that the value has gone up and customer is agreed, okay, I will pay you the differential, or any reason when I have to charge him extra. For that, I will raise a debit note. Debit note means it's a value, it's a document similar to invoice, but the sale is not happened. It's not happening now. Sale has already happened. To adjust that sale value, I will raise a debit note now. For upward movement, I will raise a debit note. Okay. On the debit note, I will charge the same value of GST which I had charged for the invoice because it is linked to that debit note. Okay. Now, this we understood. Debit note on sale, we charge GST. On debit note, also we charge GST. Sale is raised in March. Now I've realized it in September. So in September, I will raise a debit note and I will pay GST on this. Okay. I will raise GST on this because this is equivalent to the, instead of charging that time, I've raised the debit note now. So I will pay GST on that now. Okay. On sale invoice, when I make, purchaser who does the purchase, he will get the credit. Similarly, on the debit note also, he will get the credit. Now, if there is a reduction in value, for increase, what is there? Debit note. For reduction, credit note. Means I've made a sale of 1 lakh. The invoice should have been 80,000. Mistakenly, I've raised 1 lakh rupees. Customer will shout at me. So then I will say, okay, don't worry, don't shout at me. Instead of 1 lakh, instead of 80,000, I have raised 1 lakh. So 20,000 rupees, I'll give you. Okay. So I will raise a credit note for 20,000 rupees, which is reduction in the price. Similarly, I agreed that I will give you a discount. So for this discount, I will give him a credit note. And what kind of credit note will be permitted? Such credit note will be permitted for reduction, which is agreed at the time of supply and it is linked to the invoice. Clear? So debit note for increase, credit note for reduction. Is there any time limit for raising debit note? No, because whenever I realize that I have to increase the price, government is getting money, right? So there is no time limit for issuing of debit note. I can raise it anytime, but for raising credit note, because there is reduction in value, their restriction is there. I have to raise credit note within September return of the next month. So 1920, I've made a sale. I can raise a credit note anytime between 1920 or maximum by September returns of the 20. September 2020's return when I raised, by that time I have to raise a credit note. For raising debit note, no time limit. For raising credit note, there is a time limit. Debit note is made at the time of sale return. No, Jyoti, at the time of sale return, credit note is made because you're reducing the value. Okay. So डिस्काउंट आफ्टर सेल में भी डेबिट नोट इशू होगा, डिस्काउंट आफ्टर सेल में क्रेडिट नोट इशू होगा, क्योंकि रिडक्शन इन प्राइस है. ठीक है. और सेल रिटर्न में भी प्राइस रिड्यूस हो रहा है. तो इन केस ऑफ सेल रिटर्न एंड डिस्काउंट आई विल रेज अ क्रेडिट नोट. ठीक है. समझ में आ गया आप तक? एनी डाउट्स टिल नाउ? Okay, looks like no question. We understood this concept thoroughly. Oh, some doubt. Time period for credit note within September of the subsequent year. Discount given at the time of issuing debit note or credit note is the discount is deductible from value of supply. It is deducted from the value of supply. But you will not get to know at the time of issue of invoice. Correct? You will get to know later on only. So for that, you will raise a credit note for that. Sales return, sales return, credit note, purchase, we issue debit note. No, not that way. It is always on the sales side. It is not on the purchaser side. When I make a sale, I will raise a sale invoice. If there is an increase in value from the sales, if they have to increase the value, I will raise a debit note. Purchaser issuing a document is not relevant. In our accounts, we have read that if I issue a credit note, I will give a debit note, I will give a debit note, he will issue a credit note. That is accounting terms. For GST terms, this debit note and credit note will be issued by the supplier only. Recipient cannot do anything because based on my document, he will claim the credit. So please understand, Kanakarini, I'm repeating again. Sale invoice is raised by the seller. He cannot raise a purchase invoice and file the credit unless it is RCM. So if I raise a sale invoice only, then he can claim the credit. Similarly, for increase debit note also I will raise. For reduction also credit note I will raise. Based on that document, his input tax credit will be decided. Okay. So in accounting, what you please forget that for GST purpose, that is not relevant here. Okay. What is the criteria for ITC reversal on debit note? ITC reversal for debit note is not there because he is not reducing the value. In ITC, he will claim more. For a debit note, ITC reversal happens only for credit note. Once I give a credit note, he will reverse it in his returns. Okay. What is recipient reverse ITC? Matlab, the value what I've charged, that is more value. Now, when I give a credit note, the value is reducing. So he is to reverse the credit. That is called as recipient, means the receiver has to reverse his ITC. Okay. So I think ITC recipient reverse ITC. That okay. Is there a time limit for ITC reversal? Yes, I'm saying no. Kanaya Singh, like how I said that it has to be reversed within September of the subsequent month. जब आप ITC पढ़ोगे, that will again get clarified. It has to be reversed by the September return of the subsequent year. So debit and credit note both will be raised by the supplier, but debit note is to increase the value of supply and credit note is to reduce the value of supply. Correct. Exactly. Okay. Now, inclusion in transaction value, I've said what all gets included, any taxes, duties, cess, fees, and charges levied under any law for the time being imposed other than this act. Okay. So there is one tax called as TCS. Under income tax, what is TCS? I have to explain this to you. TDS is tax deducted at source. You have to first understand TDS. When I sell something, the recipient has to pay me the value. Under income tax, there is a provision called as TDS, tax deduction at source. It says that the receiver who is paying to me, he has to deduct some value and pay to the government directly for this value. A chartered accountant is providing services to his client. The client has to pay to me, but from the value what he has to pay to me, some value he will deduct, which is like 10% in case of professional services. He will deduct 10% of the payment what he makes to me and pay it to the government. When I file my returns, income tax returns, I will claim this as a income tax deducted at source. So this is a concept of TDS, tax deducted at source under income tax. Now, on some value, like on some transactions, like if I do sale of scraps, now the person who's buying the scrap, he will not show the income tax correctly. So that's the reason they're saying that instead of TDS, the seller, you collect additional money called as TCS, which is called as tax collected at source. When you sell your scrap value for 1 lakh rupees, you collect not 1 lakh, you collect 1 lakh 5,000 rupees which is 5% extra you collect from the seller and pay it to the government on behalf of the purchaser. So tax deducted at source is by the purchaser and tax collection at source is by the seller. So when you're selling something, sell it, collect from him the value of your sale and collect from him extra amount called as TCS. Okay, so this TCS you'll pay it provided to the government. So in my invoice, what I will say 1 lakh rupees sale value and TCS of 5,000 rupees. Now, what did I say in 15.2? Any taxes included other than GST has to be levied. So I have to technically charge GST on 1 lakh 5,000 rupees. Correct. But there is a clarification which says that TCS under income tax is not includable. Why? As it is an interim levy not having the character of a tax. This, what you're collecting, is only as a mechanism to keep track, and this is not tax what you're collecting. You're collecting as an interim levy, and this is not a tax. So you still continue to charge GST on the 1 lakh rupees itself. Don't collect charge on that 5,000 rupees, even the government has said that any other taxes has to be included. But for TCS, there is a clarification. They're saying that on this TCS, you don't have to collect the GST. You have to collect only on the base value. Okay. TCS समझ गए ना ज्योति जी? So anything I collect आपके income tax में और clearly है. Anything which I sell, suppose आज मैं बड़ा seller हूँ. There is some value saying that if you do any transaction more than 50 crore rupees with the buyer, so you have to collect from the buyer value of the goods plus extra amount as TCS. So this TCS what we collect, ideally it should be included because 15.2 क्या बोलता है? Any other taxes other than GST law has to be included. So should I include this 5,000 and charge GST on 1 lakh 5,000? No, I have to still charge on 1 lakh rupees itself. 5,000 is not in the nature of tax. It is in the nature of interim levy. Second point, any amount that the supplier is liable to pay. Any amount that the supplier is liable to pay in relation to such supply, but which has been incurred by the recipient of the supply and not included in the price actually paid or payable for the goods or services or both. So basically, I'm explaining all of these 5 points. In this case, we understood this example would be cement, which is brought by the recipient directly and given to the supplier. Now I'm building some big machinery. On this machinery, I have to charge GST. Now for this machinery, I need some cement. And the customer is saying, I will buy cement and give it to you. So this value of the cement has to be included in the price of the machinery which I'm selling. Okay. So this is the second thing, any amount that the supplier is liable to pay. Third is incidental expenses includes commission and packaging charged by the supplier to the recipient. Any freight handling charges, inspection or certification charges, installation, testing charges, weighment charges, loading charges, all of this has to be included. What else is included? Interest or late fees or penalty. Time of supply of interest, we know, we've read on the time of supply. Time of supply for IPL would be on actual receipt. Okay. Such charges are in addition to the value of supply, hence same rate of tax of the principal supply will apply. I've sold goods at 5%. The value of my goods, based on the description of the goods, the GST is charged at 5%. Okay. Now the recipient has defaulted in payment. So I will charge him interest. On interest, the rate generally is 18%, but interest I'm charging because of default in payment of this value of the goods. So on this interest also, I will charge him GST at 5%. Or any late filing I'm collecting, on that also it is chargeable at 5% itself. Okay. So any late filing, interest payment, interest penalty or late filing fees if I'm collecting, then the value of the goods will be the rate on this also. Okay. Then subsidies should be directly linked to the price. Blanket subsidies are not included. Matlab, if I'm getting a bulk subsidy of 1 lakh rupees and it is not linked to my sale price, then I don't have to include it in my supply value. Also, supply given by central government and state government is not added. Clear? सर जब कार परचेज करते हैं तो इनवॉइस में टीसीएस कलेक्ट करते हैं, हाँ करेक्ट। जब कार परचेज करते हैं तब टीसीएस इंक्लूड होता है। और जो कार जब हम परचेज करते हैं, जैसे 5 लाख की कार है, टीसीएस 50,000 रुपए, 5,000 या 50,000 रुपए कलेक्ट करते हैं, जीएसटी आपको 5 लाख पर ही लगाएंगे, 5,50,000 पे नहीं लगाएंगे। सर जीएसटी इज पेएबल ऑन टीसीएस पोर्शन ऑल्सो एज वी आर कलेक्टिंग अलॉन्ग विथ वैल्यू, that is correct. But there is clear clarification which says that TCS is not in the nature of tax. So you don't have to collect GST on the TCS portion. What is blanket subsidies? Blanket है ना, जब सोते हो आप क्या लगाते हो? ब्लैंकेट लगाते हो। यहाँ पे बहुत बारिश है, हम तो डबल डबल ब्लैंकेट लगा के सोते हैं। ठीक है, तो ब्लैंकेट ये है जो पूरे शरीर को ढक ले, उसे कहते हैं ब्लैंकेट। So similarly, blanket subsidies are subsidies which are given for my whole production and wholesale, whole value of my, to reduce the whole cost of my production, not linked to a one particular sale of product. So if it is linked to one particular sale of product, it is called as price link subsidy. If it is not linked to any product given for the whole process as such, that is called as blanket subsidy. ठीक है, cool. Next is exclusion to transaction value. What is excluded? Discounts given before or at the time of supply if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice. In the invoice, I have to reduce it clear because before the supply, where will I reduce? I will reduce from my sale value itself. Okay, so if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice which is issued in respect of such supply, example discount for spot payment, okay, or discount of list prices. I have a list price wherein this is the price I will sell it to end customers if some retailer customers are coming. But if I am selling this, if I'm a manufacturer, I am selling to my distributor, I have to give some discount. So this discount which is known at the time of supply is reduced at the time of supply on the invoice itself. Then discount which is given after the supply has been affected will be reduced from the value only if discount is established in terms of an agreement. Just says agreement, oral written कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं, so just an agreement, oral भी चलेगा, entered into at or before the time of supply and specifically linked to the related invoices. So it should be linked to which invoices you're giving. ठीक है, and input tax credit as is attributable to the discount on the basis of document issued by the supplier has been reversed by the recipient. Clear? So what I'm saying here, discussing again here, discounts given at the time of supply and it is shown in the invoice, yes, then discount is not to be included. Second is it is given before the supply and it is shown in the invoice, yes, then discount is not to be included in the value. If it is not shown in the invoice, then discount is included in the value of supply, आपको deduction नहीं मिलेगा. Then if discount is given after the supply and it is in terms of an agreement that exists at the time of supply and it is can be linked to the invoices and proportionate ITC is reversed, when all of these three conditions are there, then discount will not be included. If any of these three conditions are not satisfied, then discount will be included in the value of supply. Clear discount part? No, Petardwa, if TDS is there, then that doesn't affect because TDS is on the purchases front to deduct. So you will charge your normal price only and you will charge GST on that. The other person will deduct TDS only on the value of supply. Because TDS, I don't have to any deduction. The receiver will deduct it. Staggered discount, Pranav, in the next slide, I will explain you that also. Explain proportionate ITC by an example. Okay. So this is a case of a sale invoice. I have raised a sale tax invoice. I have raised wherein sale value is 10,000 rupees. On this, PGST of 9% and SGST of 9%. So my total invoice value is 11,800. Correct? Now, for the purchaser, how much will he get the credit, which is called as ITC? How much ITC he will get? Full 900 and full 900, 1,800 he's getting the credit. Now I am raising a credit note. Credit note I will raise. Credit note value is I have to give him a discount of 1,000 or say 2,000. Makes it clear. I have to give him 2,000 rupees discount on this. In the credit note, I will say CGST on this is 9% and SGST is again 9%. Okay, total credit note value is this. Now I have paid to the government how much? 900 of CGST, 900 of SGST. Now if I have to give him this discount, matlab government say I'm saying I paid you 900. Now I have to get back 180 because my value of the goods effectively is 10,000 minus 2,000. On 8,000, Mr. Government Sir, I have to pay you 9%, which is 720. I have paid you 900. 900 minus 720 is 180. Correct? This 180 is what is appearing in this credit note. So the purchaser has claimed the ITC of 900. Now he has to do on the basis of this credit note, reverse the ITC. How much he will reverse? Reverse 180 and SGST also he will reverse 180. So that net ITC what he can claim will be 900 minus 180, which is 720. मुझे 720 charge करना था, तो उसको he will also have to take credit of 720 itself. So this is called taking the credit and this is called reversing the credit. How this happens? This happens in the return. In the return, there is a provision which says how much credit you want to take. Take it. You will take 900 in 1 month. In the month of credit note, you will tell reversal of 180. Clear? Clear, Alok? Very good. TCS is collected by the seller and TCS is collected by the seller and TDS is deducted by the purchaser. Okay. TCS and TDS both are applicable for one good? No, generally not. Generally not. If TDS is there, TCS will not apply. TCS is there, TDS will not apply. It will not apply on the same good. What happens in case of RCM? Same in the case of RCM also. If there's any credit note which is given, then instead of paying that full amount which I've paid, I will reduce that value. Clear? TDS can be deducted on base value only. That's true, correct, Abhishek. Then such reversed ITC will be refunded? No, it will not get refunded. It will get adjusted with some other sale. So I've taken only one transaction. There'll be hundreds of transactions, right? So this transaction, if you have to reverse from your other sale value, you will reduce it and pay the net amount. I'm not saying refund, so refund is not possible. You will adjust it from your sale value. Should seller inform government about the credit note or purchaser? Seller has to inform because seller is having the control. He is raising the credit note. He has to inform the government through the GST portal. Okay. And this will reflect in the purchaser's GST portal also. Okay. Now let's understand the different types of discount and what are the clarifications issued in this regard. Okay. There on one type, Pranav, you were asking on the staggered discount, which means the rate of discount increases with increase in purchase volume. Like how I'd given you an example. If you purchase up to 2 lakhs, then the discount is 5%. If you purchase 3 lakhs, then it is 10%, such cases. Now, such discount are excluded to determine the value of supply, which means I had agreed now saying that if you make more purchases, you do more volumes of purchases, I will give you better discount. If you buy 50,000 quantity of goods, I'll give you 5%. If you buy 1 lakh quantity of goods, I'll give you 20%. So it's staggered, or I could say that up to one level, up to 10,000, it is 5%, 10 to 20,000, 15%, 15 to 20,000, 30%. So these are the various kinds of discount which can be given. So if it is staggered discount, the principle is same. If I have agreed at the time of supply and it is given through a credit note, which is linked to the sale value, which is linked to the invoice, then it is permitted. So rate of discount increases. That's only one of the mechanism. But if it is linked to the invoice, I will get the benefit. It will be reduced from the value of supply. Second is year-end discounts, which means which is offered by the suppliers to their stockist, or discounts is passed by the supplier through credit notes. Okay, wherein at the year end, something similar to staggered discount, but this is given at the year end. At the year end, or based on the volume, you're getting some discount. I will see what is the performance for the year. Based on that, I will give you a discount. Such discounts also are excluded to determine the value of supplies, but satisfy 15(3) conditions. So all these conditions has to be satisfied. Then secondary discounts which are not known at the time of supply. Like I had given that, okay, some Diwali came, I didn't agree with him, but to just encourage him, I'm giving him a discount. So these discounts are not known at the time of supply, not based on purchases volumes, based on my sales. If I am happy, I'm giving him. Okay, so these discounts which are not known at the time of supply or are offered after the supply is already over, it shall not be excluded while determining the value of supply, which means for this, they will not get the benefit, and GST also, I will not get the benefit. Okay, so how will this secondary discount be given? It is given through a commercial credit note. So these two, staggered discount and year-end discount, is given through a normal credit note. But this discount, when I'm giving him, I'm saying him pay me less. So he'll pay me less. This, how he will pay less? Through issue of a commercial credit note. Okay. So that is all about discounts. Any doubts till now? Abhishek, what is your question? Explain refund process in import case. In import case, there is no refund. Only in export case, there is a refund. Okay. Festive discount, same. Festive discount, if it is linked to the invoice, if it is agreed before at the time of supply, then it will be given. But if it is not discussed, so basic thumb rule is this itself. If it is agreed at the time of supply and if it can be linked to the invoice, okay, then it is allowed. If it is not agreed at the time of supply, it is just given randomly, then it is not allowed. Great, Kanakirini. I have cleared all your doubts till this topic. Future topics, I will not be there because this will be the last session. After this, you'll have a new faculty member who will teach you on the other topics. स्टॉकिस्ट क्या होता है? स्टॉकिस्ट वो होता है जो गुड्स को स्टॉक करता है. ओके, वो स्टॉक करके अपने पास रखता है और वो अपने हिसाब से बेचता है, नॉट बेस्ड ऑन द डिमांड एंड सप्लाई. वो अपने पास रख के फिर वो डिसाइड करेगा जब बेचना है. ही इज कॉल्ड एज अ स्टॉकिस्ट. Who is a del credit agent? हमने एजेंट को आप देखा था पिछले इसमें. एजेंट इज वन हु सेल्स. अ डेल क्रेडिट एजेंट इज मोर देन एन एजेंट. एजेंट का काम क्या है? सिर्फ कस्टमर लेके आना और उसका कमीशन लेके जाना. बट डेल क्रेडिट एजेंट क्या करता है? ही विल get the customer and also he will also take additional responsibility of saying that okay, if the customer doesn't pay, or I will get your customer and ensure that he pays you. So we'll take extra commission saying that if he does not pay, I will take the obligation, or he will give a loan to the customer and say that you pay this guy on time. Okay. So that is the advantage of a Dell Credor agent, which means that he will take the additional responsibility of payment also apart from finding a customer. Okay. It means there will be no effect on the value of GST in secondary discount. In case of secondary, there will not be any value. Correct. Not be any effect on the value of GST because you have already made the sale. No adjustment has to be done in that case. Okay. Yes, Abhishek, you're asking question on export. Okay. Export ke upar, I will be a little confusing now, so I will not discuss that topic. We'll discuss it later on. Time of supply is difficult, but value of supply is easy. Okay. Time of supply is also easy. After November schedule, your classes will be there now. As of now, no. Let us see. Please explain volume discount. Volume discount, Jenny, is where I give the discount to the recipient or to my customer based on how much volume they buy. If they buy 50,000 quantities, their volume discount will be less. If they buy 1 lakh quantities, their discount will be more. So that is called as volume discount based on how much volume, how much quantity of goods they purchase. My discount is decided. That is an example of volume discount. Okay. नहीं ज्योति, मुझसे ही सीखना नहीं होगा। जो भी पुराने क्लासेस मैंने लास्ट 2 बैचेस में लिए थे उसका आप रिकॉर्डिंग तो देख सकते हो, लेकिन लाइव क्लासेस का मजा ही अलग है। आपको लाइव क्लासेस देखोगे तभी बी बेटर। श्योर द नेक्स्ट टीचर हु कम्स ही विल आल्सो गिव यू अ गुड ग्रिप ऑन द सब्जेक्ट। Okay, we'll take a break of 10 minutes here and we'll get back and discuss this further topics. Priyanka, your question is the offers like on purchase of 15,000, the customer will get a gift hamper or a voucher are included in volume discount or no? So these are not included in volume discount because these gift hampers or vouchers are like coming in a different scenario of issue of goods free of without consideration and free samples. So on this, no reversal has to happen because reversal happens for a value or any terms of monetary consideration, but for non-monetary consideration, it will not be included. Commercial credit note does not impact the value of GST. It just reduces the value of supply, but does not reduce the value of GST payable. Exactly. Good statements being made here. Very good, Dipanshu. Thank you, sir. Vidya Anbu, I have not seen any of your questions, and you're saying my inputs are really valuable and you've got confidence on the subject. That's good. So that's nice that people who are silently listening also are finding it interesting. That's very good. What is the difference between credit note and commercial credit note? Credit note is one wherein after raising that invoice, if I have to reduce the value and I have to give effect to GST, then I raise a credit note. But for a commercial credit note, I will reduce only the value and not the GST. I'll repeat the statement which is mentioned by Dipanshu. Commercial credit note does not impact the value of GST. It just reduce the value of supply, but does not reduce the amount of GST payable. That's a commercial credit note. But in a normal credit note, it reduces the value and it reduces the GST portion also. That is a normal credit note. What is the difference between staggered discount and volume discount? Staggered discount is given at various stages. Volume discount is given at the end of the period based on the volume. Okay. Kanakarini, your statement is so big. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you for your compliments that yes, you are inspired to become a CA. That's very nice. That's the biggest achievement, I would say, than anything else. I will save your statement. It's really inspiring to see that you have uh, learned so much and getting interest in the topic. I'm really happy for that. And I have no words to say. You have said that I've used your words, used your name correctly, and you're getting inspired to become a CA. That's the biggest achievement I have. Really, all the best. My best wishes for you. I'm nobody to bless you. I am just a person who can wish you all the best. And I would say that you will go on and achieve good heights. Uh, Everybody for that matter. I wish all the best to everyone. राइसी में आपकी क्लास के लिए रिक्वेस्ट लेटर दे दें ज्योति जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप अच्छी तरह पढ़ रहे हो आई एम रियली हैप्पी कि आप अच्छी तरह समझ भी रहे हो टॉपिक्स को तो टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई के टेस्ट योर नॉलेज टू क्वेश्चन बता दो टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई के टेस्ट योर नॉलेज का सेकेंड क्वेश्चन ओके थर्ड तो हमने पढ़ लिया था सेकेंड वाला सेकेंड में क्या है वो स्टेटमेंट एक देते हैं GST is payable on advance receipt for supply of goods and services taxable under forward charge. नहीं ना हमने बता दिया ना वही है जिसमें they have cleanly explained which says that the statement is not correct while GST is payable on advance receipt for supply of services. ठीक है जो supply of services है उस पे एडवांस पे भी आपको टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा क्लियरली सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज अगर आप सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस कर रहे हो और आपको जीएसटी आ रहा है ऑन एडवांस तो आपको जब एडवांस आ रहा है उसके ऊपर आपको जीएसटी पे करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई सेज फॉर सर्विसेज इश्यू ऑफ इनवॉइस और receipt of advance whichever is earlier when you raise the invoice on time if you don't raise the invoice on time provision of service or advance received whichever is earlier that is for service लेकिन for goods it says in case of goods वो एक notification which I've said very very important, notification number 66 of 2017, which says that if a registered person should pay GST on upward supply of goods at the time of supply, which is date of invoice and not last date on which invoice is to be sought, उसमें receipt का नहीं आएगा. For supply of goods only on invoice, but supply of services advance receipt or provision of services whichever is earlier. क्या doubt है इसमें? If some time is left, can I show GST returns? No, I'll take you some practical examples. GST returns, it will be little too long a session. So I'll take you some practical questions on time of supply and value of supply. If cash discount is deductible given at the time of payment, yes, it is given at the time of payment. Bhi de diya na. So invoice ke time you have raised the invoice, and at the time of payment you will give a debit note, and that will be reduced. Okay, that will be reduced because generally when any supply is made and the supplier will be happy to give this cash discount because he wants his payment on time. Okay, so in all the supplies it will be mentioned generally in the invoice or through a contract or anything saying that payment terms immediate. If paid within 15 days, CD or cash discount of 2%, and paid afterwards, no discount. So that will be mentioned generally in all the sale invoices. Thank you, Ikrar. Thank you. Sir, ask any MCQ questions, and after that, if you have time, can you share our journey of CA? It will be little too much. We'll discuss on the topic itself. Priyanka, I would suggest you to write one group since you are having some illness. Then please take up one group and take it one at a time and complete it. Then go to the other group. Sir, we receive advance of rupees 1000 or less for provision of service. Will it attract GST at the time of receipt? No. So there is an exception. We said, no, Kanaya Singh, if you receive advance up to 1000 rupees or less for provision of service, okay, then it will not be treated as GST at the time of receipt. It has an option to show it on the invoice basis. So once on this excess advance, not just advance of 1000 excess which you receive. So invoice I've raised for 2500 rupees. I have got payment of 3000 rupees. So 2500 pay on invoice basis. Now this 500 extra what I've received, this is advance. So for this advance, I should pay GST generally on time of supply, on the receipt of advance. But since it is less than 1000, then it can be taxable at the time of issue of invoice. Okay. Abhishek Pandey, ये तो मेरा I'm feeling send off statement हो गया. Very guys, thank you very much for all your contribution. Okay. Thank you, Abhishek. Really getting really emotional with all your words. Just give me one moment, some technical issue. Okay. We understood this discount. Now transaction value has other sections, which is section 15.4 and 15.5. 15.4 says where the value of supply of goods or services are both cannot be determined under subsection 1. Okay. And when you cannot determine under section 15 subsection 1, which is the transaction value, if it cannot be determined under transaction value, when it will not be determined, when it is not between related party transactions, when it is not between related persons. Matlab, if you do any transaction with a related person, then 15.1 fails. Then you have to come to 15.4, or it is with an unrelated person, but price is not the sole consideration. Then you will come to 15.4. Then it says where the value of supply of goods cannot be determined under section 1, the same shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed. Matlab, for this, when you are doing this transactions with related party, or if you're doing with an unrelated party and price is not the sole consideration, in those two instances, you will go to the valuation rules as may be prescribed. When they say it will be prescribed to the GST rules. So in the GST Act, you'll see a lot of provisions where it says as may be prescribed. Matlab, कौन prescribe करेगा? The CBIC will prescribe under the GST rules. The government will give a notification, or government will also give rules basically. So GST rules got the power from these various sections, and in the rules it will decide what is the provision of what is prescribed. Okay. Then 15.5 says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 or 4, the value of such supplies as will be notified of the government on the recommendation of the council shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed. मतलब special goods के लिए, special transactions के लिए special valuation रहेगा, which will be decided by the government. So in case of insurance premiums, whether GST is payable or no, it is described. But on the full value of the premium, GST cannot be charged. So there is a special mechanism which is decided that is coming from 15.5, and there are rules subsequent to it which says that in case of insurance premium, on what value GST will be payable. In case of forex transactions, what will be the value which is payable. And in case of any sale of old car, what will be GST payable. So those valuations will be specially prescribed is what is the empowerment under section 15.5. Okay. So 15.4 says what, when you will have to go to the valuation rules. Our RK Narayan is walking and is saying go to valuation rules in the following cases when supply is not covered under section 15.1, which means the two conditions are not satisfied, which is value supply to an unrelated person and supply to a unrelated person, but with influence of price. If one of these two conditions are not satisfied, then you will go to valuation rules. Or that is supply is covered under section 15.1, but transaction is with related persons. Or supply is covered under section 15.1, but those mandatory adjustments of 15.2 and 15.3, what we said, those if you're not doing, then also you will go to valuation rules. So in these three conditions, you will go to the valuation rules. And valuation rules luckily is not there in your syllabus. So you have a good opportunity of not getting into that. Okay. कैश डिस्काउंट का ट्रीटमेंट यही होगा कि आपने सेल किया है, आज आपने 1 लाख का सेल किया है, आपको 1 लाख पे जीएसटी पे करना है. अब कस्टमर ने ऑन टाइम पे कर दिया है तो आप उसको डिस्काउंट दोगे 5,000 रुपए का. 5,000 रुपए के लिए आप क्या इश्यू रेस करोगे? आप क्रेडिट नोट रेस करोगे. ठीक है. जब आप क्रेडिट नोट रेस करते हो 5,000 का, तो फिर 5,000 पे जीएसटी आप चार्ज करोगे. करेक्ट. जीएसटी भी कम करोगे तो सामने वाला उतना जीएसटी कम कर देगा अपने इनपुट में, और आपके सेल वैल्यू में जो उस, जैसे 1 लाख का सेल आपने जुलाई में किया है, अगस्त में क्रेडिट नोट रेस किया है, अगस्त का क्रेडिट नोट का जो भी 5,000 का वैल्यू है, से 250 रुपीज, 250 का जीएसटी आप दूसरे सेल्स में रिड्यूस करोगे तो उतना जीएसटी कम पे करोगे. क्लियर? If only barter service, it is covered under 15.1. Yes. If only pure barter service, it is covered under 15.1. Could you make a Telegram group? Not permitted and by the Board of Studies, so we cannot create this, Dipanshu. What is mandatory adjustments? Mandatory adjustments is under 15.2. 15.2, those 5 additions, and 15.3, those 3 reductions. Those are mandatory adjustments. Notes for exemptions are not uploaded. It will get uploaded. I will again request the Board of Studies to upload it. I've given it to them and I will request them to upload it again. Okay. Now we'll get into MCQs and practical questions. Ms. Gomati is a trader who supplied watches to Mr. Deepak for a price of 1000 each. Wholesale price of the watch is 1500. Retail price of the watch in the ordinary course is 2000. Ms. Gomati and Mr. Deepak and are unrelated persons. What is the value of supply? Okay, B and C. Few people are saying A, lot of varied answers. It is very simple. This prices is the wholesale price and this is the retail price. What did we say? Whatever is the price charge, is it between unrelated person? Yes, this is unrelated person. Is price the sole consideration? Yes, price is the sole consideration. What is the price? Price is 1000 rupees. So the correct answer is 1000 rupees. Okay, no doubts in this, right? Because it is a, okay. Next question. There are few offers going on Myntra on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. One of the offer is buy more, save more. The customer will get 50% of the discount if he purchases for a value more than 10,000 rupees, 70% of the discount if he purchases for a value more than 30,000 rupees. What kind of discount is this? Sure, Abhishek Pandey and Alok Shivlani. I will upload, I've told them to upload the exemptions chapter again, and I'll also give them the questions also so that they can upload the questions as well. Okay, so this is a example of staggered discount. मतलब जितना purchase करोगे उतना discount मिलेगा. So this is a example of staggered discount. Correct. Mr. Prabhas supplied goods to Miss Anushka for a consideration of 2 lakh rupees with a credit period of 1 month. 1% interest is to be charged after expiry of 1 month credit period. Miss Anushka made payment of 2 lakh rupees after expiry of 1 month credit period along with the interest at the rate of 1%. What is the value of supply? Jyotija, how is it 2 lakh rupees? Three, the correct answer. As per section 52, interest or late fees are included in the value of supply. Correct. So the answer is B. Correct. So answer is B. 2 lakh 2,000 rupees. Next, Ms. Bhavani sold furniture to ABC for a consideration of 1 lakh rupees. She issued an invoice and provided discount of 10,000 without mentioning in the invoice. Now, what is the value of supply? Yeah, there is some confusion here. Few people are still saying it is B because the value is 1 lakh rupees. And few people are saying it is A because it is discount of 10,000 rupees. But what is the important condition for discount? Discount should be mentioned in the invoice. This is not mentioned in the invoice, which means they will, for discount before or at the time of supply, we know that that should be mentioned in the invoice. In this case, it is not mentioned in the invoice. So the correct answer is B and not A. Even though discount is given, but it is not mentioned in the invoice. So the correct answer is 1 lakh rupees itself. The value will be 1 lakh. Discount का benefit नहीं मिलेगा. Okay? Discount का benefit इसमें नहीं मिलेगा. Discount will become liable to GST in this case, Abhishek, because the condition of mentioning in the invoice is not there, is not fulfilled here. Mr. A is a trader of school bags. Selling price of the bag is 300. MS ABC Trust is agreed to pay 150 rupees per bag if he sells school bags to poor children at the price of 150. Mr. A reported the value of supply as 150 because what did he sell at 150 rupees? So he's reported 150 rupees and he's paid in his GST returns. Is this reporting correct? If yes, why so? If no, why no? Reasons also has to be mentioned. Okay. So definitely correct answer. Everybody is given, so you know it. Sad. This value is not to be included because subsidy, now under no which one is there, is it B or D? Subsidy given by any person other than central government or state government should be added to the value of supply. Therefore, value of supply is 300. No subsidy by event rest is for poor children. Therefore, subsidy should not be added. No, that should not the reason. Even if it is given for poor children or no, law is a law. So we have to follow the provisions of the law. So the correct answer is B. Good. Everybody is given the right answer. Now, some more MCQs, very simple ones. We'll run this quickly. Value of supply shall not include any discount which is given when, before, at, both, or none. Priyanka, you're saying 5A. Please be careful. One, sixth one, or I've restarted with one. The answer is not A or B, it is C, both. It should be before or at the time of supply, and the discount has been duly recorded the invoice at the time of supply if such invoice has been duly recorded the invoice. So it could be before the time of supply or at the time of supply, both. Before the time of supply or at the time of supply, both. Both answers are correct. In which circumstances section 4 and 5 of 15 applies? Basically, 15, 4 and 5, when will you go? When supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration, when supply is made for part monetary, part non-monetary, or supply is made to related person, or in case of all of the above. Two people are saying C. No, the correct answer is D. In all the above instances, okay, we will go to valuation rules. Basically, when supply is not for monetary consideration, partly monetary, partly non-monetary, then also if it is solely means solely it should be for monetary consideration. Only then you will go to transaction value. If it is partly also, you'll go to valuation rules. And if it is made to related parties, definitely. So it is both ABC. Third question: persons including legal persons deemed as related persons if third person controls less than 25%, if he controls more than 25%, is it more than 50% or less than 50%? Hmm. Okay, for MCQ2, what is your question? Just a moment. It's given on Raksha Bandhan, so it's not like a seasonal or festival discount. Festival discount, we don't have a option over here. The correct option is staggered discount because the discount is given in a staggered manner. Yeah, the answer for question number 3 is correct. Most of them have given correct answer. It is B, a third person controls more than 25%. Value of supply includes subsidy provided by central government, subsidy directly linked to the price, blanket subsidies are both A and C. Ready. Fourth one, tricky question. Fourth is a tricky question. Fourth is a tricky question. The answer is value of supply includes, does it include by the central government? Definitely no. When subsidies are directly linked to the price, yes. Is it blanket subsidies? No. So the correct answer is B itself. The answer is B, not D, not A. Okay. It is D. It is only B, not A and B. Subsidies provided by the central government price link, then it will not include, right? So here there's no clarity. So that's why we have to select one option which is more specific. So subsidies directly linked to the price is to be included. Value of supply is the transaction value. When a transaction of supply of goods or services is made between unrelated person, price is the sole consideration. Both are prices made with related person, but adjusted to match with unrelated person. And monetary consideration is covered, monetary and non-monetary, because it had non-monetary also. That's why we said that it has to go to valuation rules. Fifth one, option, you are saying C, yeah, majority. Majority is saying C, will go with C because both it should be made with unrelated person and price should be the sole consideration. So it is C. Discounts are excluded when it is given before the time of supply, at the time of supply, recorded in the invoice, all the above. Sixth one, very simple. 6D, all the D, all the four key, all the three conditions. If it is satisfied, then it is excluded. Very simple. Next. Which of the following discount offered by the supplier are allowed as a reduction in transaction value? Staggered discount, periodic year-end discount, secondary discount, discounts given through commercial credit note? This is a little tricky question. I think most of you will get confused here. Hmm. What is the answer for this seventh one? If you are saying D, if you are saying A, how can it be D? Can't be D, definitely. Commercial credit note is not allowed as a reduction. If you are saying A, which means B, Pitara, I'll get back to your question. सेवेंथ वन इट्स ट्रिकी बोथ लोग ए बोल रहे हैं काफी लोग बी भी बोल रहे हैं द करेक्ट आंसर इज बोथ ए एंड बी okay so there is some questions which is little tricky so the correct answer is both a and b even on staggered discount you get a reduction on even on periodic year end discount you get a reduction both of this get a reduction on the thing definitely it's not c and d because on commercial credit note and secondary discounts you don't get there's no reduction. Jenny, why are you told d? It cannot be d. Itlana, your question on seventh one, which is this. Supplies made solely for non-monetary consideration. Non-monetary consideration is not covered under 15.1. No, 15.1 covered only where monetary. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. So it's for this is correct. So this is the point here. So I will amend this point. You're right. And discounts given through commercial credit note also. No, Kanakharini. Either give secondary discount or give commercial credit note. In both these cases, reduction is not there. Okay, because secondary discount when you'll issue when GST is not reduced, so there also you'll not get the credit. For the purpose of determination of value of supply under GST, TCS under the provision of the income tax is dash in the taxable value for the purpose of GST. Whether it's included, it is not included, no TCS concept under GST or none of the above. Non-monetary, but still there is a price. Okay. Pitladwala, the option said supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration, solely for non-monetary consideration, which means it is for purely non-monetary consideration. Then also you will have to go to valuation rules. So 15.4 and 5, 15.4 says where the value of supply of services cannot be determined under subsection 15.1, then you will go to 15.4, which means that is not a solely for monetary consideration. Then you're going for 15.4. So the option is correct. Okay. On this eighth one, all of you are given correct answer and few have said C. The correct answer is B because not included as it is an interim levy not having the character of tax. So TCS, why it is not included? Because it is not having the characteristic of a tax in it. In which of the following some circumstances outward freight and transit insurance will not be included in the value of supply of goods? When the supplier agrees to deliver the goods at the buyer's premises and arranges for transport, or contract of supply is on X factory basis where the buyer pays the outward freight, or neither A nor B, or it is both A and B. Understand the question. I have entered into a sale transaction. Now I'm charging some freight and transit insurance. When I will not include it is the question. If I'm a supplier, as a supplier, if I agree that I will deliver the goods at the buyer's premises and I arrange for the transport, or if I, second instances, when I agreed on X factory basis, means I will supply at factory basis and any of these freight and insurance is not my responsibility. Okay. And the buyer pays for them, then will it not be included, or in both the cases or in neither of the cases? Okay, 15.4 does not use, it says 15.4 uses the words other than 15.1. So Vidya, I would say 15.1 is to be checked over there, not 15.4 per se. Ninth one, option B, correct. When the contract is on X factory basis and the buyer pays outward freight, then I will not have to include. Correct. Very nice. Last MCQ. Which are the conditions to be satisfied to allow post-supply discounts as deduction from the value of supply? Discount is in terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and can be worked out invoice-wise. Proportionate input tax credit is received by recipient, neither A nor B, or both A and B. Okay, what Pitladwala? So it is non-monetary. No, it is for no consideration should be the thing. If it is for non-consideration, then it will get covered under 15.4. But if consideration is there, whether monetary or non-monetary, doesn't matter. It will get covered under 15.1. Correct. I'll change the option in the seventh question. Thank you. 10th answer is D. Correct. Both A and B. When discount is in terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and it can be worked out invoice wise and proportionate input tax is reversed, in that case, it will be post-supply discount will be allowed. Now, few MCQ questions. Okay. Question number 4 says Star Limited is a registered supplier in Karnataka, has provided the following details for supply of one machine. Okay, what is the price for one machine? The list price for the machine supplied is 80,000 rupees. Now, this is exclusive of the items given below. Okay, list price is this, and other items are excluded from this price. What is excluded? Tax levied by local authority on sale of such machinery. So local authorities there, they will levy some tax on this, which is 6,000 rupees. Discount of 2% on the list price of the machine was provided and it is recorded in the invoice. Now that value is not given, but they've said it is 2%. Packing expenses for safe transportation, which is charged separately in the invoice, which is 4,000 rupees. Okay. Now this is the basic which they've given. Now, Star Limited received rupees 5,000 as a subsidy from an NGO on sale of each such machine. The price of rupees 80,000 of the machine is after considering that subsidy. Means they have considered the subsidy, then they have charged this. Okay, otherwise the price would have been 85,000. Now, since they have got the subsidy, they are charging 80,000 rupees. During the month of February, they have supplied 3 machines to intrastate customers and 1 machine to interstate customers. Now, Star Limited has purchased inputs for rupees 1,20,000 rupees exclusive of GST for supplying the above 4 machineries during the month. The balance in ITC is so much. Note the rate of CGST and SGST and IGST is 9%, 9%, and 18% respectively. All the amounts given above are exclusive of GST. All the conditions necessary for availing ITC has been availed. Now compute the minimum net GST which is payable for the February supply. Okay, so this is the question. This is how you will get question in your exam, that he has supplied this, the value of each goods is this. Now we have to determine what is the GST payable. So let's get into the answer part. Again, I'll share the screen, half of the screen with question, half the screen with answer, so it is clear. Okay, so this is the question. Now we have to compute, write the company's name and do what you're doing, computation of value of taxable supply. What are we trying to do? We compute the value of taxable supply. List price. What is the list price? We know it is 80,000 rupees. So first consider the list price, which is 80,000 rupees. Okay. Then taxes levied by the government. Any taxes levied other than GST, we have to add. Correct. So we will add this taxes levied by the local government, which is 6,000 rupees. Then discount will come later because we have to reduce it. Whatever we have to add, let's add everything. Then packing expenses. Packing expenses should we add? Yes. For safe transportation, it is done. So we have to add that. Then what we said, subsidy is to be added or not added, because this 80,000 rupees is after considering this subsidy, and this subsidy from a NGO, not from government. So it has to be added. Correct. So subsidy also you will add. So what is the total you arrive at? You arrive at 90,000 rupees. Now there is a discount of 2%. So we will reduce 2%. 2% of 95,000. Correct. 2% of 95,000. 2% of 95,000 is not 1,600. 2% of the list price. 2% of the list price of the machine. The list price of the machine is 80,000. So we'll reduce discount of 2% on the list price, which is 1,600. So it is not based on the value what we do under GST or we do addition. The list price discount is on the list price, and the list price is stated as 80,000 rupees. So discount of 2% on 80,000 makes it as 1,600. Okay, discount of 2% on 80,000 makes it as 1,600. So value of taxable supply is 95,000 minus 1,600 makes it as 93,400. So this is the value for the purpose of GST for each machinery. Now, what is the question saying? They've said that They have supplied 3 machines to intrastate and 1 machine to interstate customers. So 93,400 into 3 machines at 9% because CGST, SGST you will charge for intrastate customers. Correct? So 93,400 into 3 into 9%, and 1 machine to interstate on which you will charge IGST, which is at 18%. The total output tax, we got this. This is our total output tax. Now, ITC, what will offset? How much is the ITC? First, we have to do through a working note. So, a lot of working notes we have to do in the exam. Here, I'm explaining, but you have to have that practice. Only then you'll get to know what working note is required. Working note, computation of ITC. They've given what is your opening ITC. Opening ITC is 18,000 CGST, CGST, SGST 4,000, and IGST 26,000 rupees. And this month they have purchased 1,20,000 rupees worth of goods exclusive of GST. On that, what is charged? It is intrastate. So if it is intrastate on 1,20,000 rupees at 9%, makes it as 10,800 CGST, SGST each. Okay. Total of input tax credit is 10,800 plus opening 28,800, 14,800 of SGST, and 26,000 of IGST. What I will offset first, what I will offset ITC set off of CGST. I have CGST payable here. I will offset first. I will offset IGST. I'll explain you again, not to get confused. First, I will set off IGST. Anyways, always set off in ITC. We'll learn this, but just understand here also briefly. IGST. First, I have to pay IGST 16,802. How much credit I have? 26,000 rupees. From 26,000 rupees, I will utilize 16,000 here. Balance, I will use it for SGST. Okay, why? Because I have less SGST credit. So I will utilize this for SGST. Then I will offset CGST. 28,000 is the credit, 25,208 I have to pay. I will pay this. Can I use it with CGST? No, I cannot. IGST not required. Then ITC set off of SGST. 14,800 I have credit. Already I've taken 19,000. Balance I will take this. So after of this offset, what is the GST payable? Fully utilized through ITC. Balance of 1,230 SGST has to be paid. So this is the minimum GST which is payable. ITC offset questions I will not encourage now. This is only for your understanding. When you read ITC chapter, you will get it in detail. But for your understanding, this was a consolidated question. That's why I have given you the explanation here. But valuation per se is what I want you to understand. Value, how will you determine, and what is the percentage you will charge. Okay. सर सब्सिडी प्राइस में ऐड क्यों कर रहे हो? सब्सिडी नॉन गवर्नमेंट से आ रहा है, ठीक है, तो उसको ऐड करना ही है क्योंकि उसने जो प्राइस किया है उसको कंसिडर किया, मतलब प्राइस कम कर दिया है। तो वो सप्लाई तो 80,000 पे करेगा कस्टमर को, लेकिन जीएसटी हमको 80,000 प्लस सब्सिडी क्या भरना पड़ेगा क्योंकि सब्सिडी को हम ऐड करते हैं। ठीक है। Yeah, some valuation questions basically are based on this itself. That is what valuation states about. डिस्काउंट ऑलवेज होल ईयर के लेना, हाँ, जो उस प्रोडक्ट के लिए डिस्काउंट है वो पूरा लेना है। ठीक है। ग्रेट। को यही प्रॉब्लम लेना था टू अंडरस्टैंड द मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वैल्यूएशन। ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच। अगर कुछ डाउट्स है तो आई एम देयर फॉर 5 more minutes. Other than this topic, any other doubts, 5 to 10 minutes we can spend and we can take up your questions. Take more of this practical problems so that it will be helpful. Why can't the 2% be on the list price? List price is 80,000, not 85,000. So it will be always on 80,000 only. 85,000 is not the list price. 80,000 only is the list price. Okay. If nothing is given on which value discount is charged, then value is taken. If nothing is given, then it will be still on the list price itself. So they will give discount is given on what? Because there cannot be a discount without any basis. There will be a basis. So discount will be on the basis. 1,230 will be reflected in electronic cash ledger after paying that in cash. Yes, that will reflect in electronic cash ledger. Whatever payment we make in cash ledger, that will be there. क्वेश्चन नंबर 9 एमसीक्यू में राइट क्यों इंक्लूड नहीं किया? फ्रेट एंड ट्रांजिट दोनों को इंक्लूड क्यों नहीं किया? बिकॉज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सप्लाई ऑन एक्स फैक्ट्री बेसिस. एक्स फैक्ट्री बेसिस का मतलब है मैं आपको सप्लाई सिर्फ फैक्ट्री तक करूंगा, इसके आगे जो भी है वो आपको उठाना पड़ेगा. तो मेरा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वहीं पे खत्म हो जाता है. सो अगर मैं आउटवर्ड फ्रेट और इंश्योरेंस करूंगा, उसको इंक्लूड नहीं करूंगा और उसको मैं अलग से कलेक्ट करूंगा. बिकॉज द वैल्यू द अग्रीमेंट इज कि मैं अप टू फैक्ट्री के गेट तक ही सप्लाई करूंगा. एनी अदर चार्जेस इवन इफ आई इंकर्ड, यू हैव टू पे टू मी सेपरेटली. ठीक है, तो व्हाट ही इज पेइंग इज नॉट फॉर द सप्लाई, इट इज एज दो ऑन हिज बिहाफ आई एम पेइंग इट टू द थिंग. सो इट बिकम्स एज अ ट्रांजेक्शन ऑफ अ प्योर एजेंट. ओके, और आउटवर्ड फ्रेट अगर फैक्ट्री एक्स फैक्ट्री बेसिस पे है तो फिर वो जो भी एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस है वो कस्टमर का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, इसलिए हम सप्लाई में इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है. एक और इलस्ट्रेशन मितेश भाई पटेल, वैल्यूएशन में एक और इलस्ट्रेशन. आई विल टेक वन मोर इलस्ट्रेशन. ठीक है. ठीक है, एक और छोटा इलस्ट्रेशन ले लेते हैं ताकि मितेश भाई पटेल भी खुश हो जाए. छोटा सा एक क्वेश्चन ले लेंगे. टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई पे ले लेंगे. क्वेश्चन थोड़ा लंबा है, पढ़ने की कोशिश कीजिए. ठीक है. Mera Sons, a registered supplier, is the wholesale supplier of ready-made garments located in Bandra, Mumbai. On 5th September 2020, Subhadra, owner of Ora Boutique located in Dadar, Mumbai, approached Mera Sons for the supply of a consignment of customized dresses for ladies and kids. बहुत सारा मसाला रहेगा इसमें, क्योंकि जब आपको ऐसे सेंटेंस वाले क्वेश्चंस देते हैं आपको कंफ्यूज करने की पूरी कोशिश करेंगे और बहुत सारे फैक्ट्स देंगे. आपको सिर्फ रेलेवेंट फैक्ट्स उठाना है वहां से. So she came and she ordered for dress. Subhadra hands over the check for payment on the same day. कब? 5th September को. The said payment is entered in the accounts on 20th September and amount is credited in the bank account on 21st September. Mera Sons get the consignment ready by 2nd December and inform Subhadra about the same. The invoice was issued on the next day, that is 3rd December. Due to some reason, Subhadra could not collect the consignment immediately. So she collects the consignment from the premises on 18th December. ठीक है. यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू डिटरमाइन द वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ द रेडीमेड गारमेंट सप्लाइड बाय मेरा सन्स टू सुभद्रा, एलॉबरेटिंग द रेलेवेंट प्रोविजंस अंडर द जीएसटी लॉ. कितने सारे डेट्स है. फर्स्ट आती है, फिर पेमेंट करती है, चेक देती है, फिर कस्टमर बैंक में क्रेडिट होता है, फिर गुड्स तो रेडी है, इनवॉइस में बाद में रेज करता हूँ और डिलीवरी बाद में देता हूँ, सो मेनी डेट्स। बट अपने को रिलेवेंट क्या डेट्स है वही लेना है। ठीक है, व्हाट इज द रिलेवेंट डेट, विल टेक इट नाउ। Time of supply is goods, simple is earliest of the due dates, which is date of invoice or the last date on which invoice is to be raised or the date of receipt of payment। ठीक है, यही है। बट एक और नोटिफिकेशन का भी रेफरेंस देना पड़ेगा। हाउएवर एज पर नोटिफिकेशन नंबर 66 ऑफ 2017, conditions given under point B has been relaxed. So time of supply will be the date of issue of invoice or the due date of issue of invoice। मतलब in case invoice is not issued on time, by when it has to be issued। In this case, when is the invoice to be issued? Was issued before the delivery of the goods। and delivery कब हुआ है? 18th को हुआ है। और मेरा इनवॉइस कब रेडी हो गया? 3rd December। सो आई इशूड इनवॉइस वेल ऑन टाइम। सो डेट ऑफ इनवॉइस इज द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई इन दिस केस। ऑल अदर फैक्ट्स बिकम्स इररिलेवेंट। चेक आया बिकॉज सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स के लिए वो इररिलेवेंट है। सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस होता then issue of invoice or provision of service, whichever is earlier। So in case of supply of goods, invoice date is the relevant date। So 3rd December is the time of supply। Okay। इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंस एक्स फैक्ट्री में इंक्लूड नहीं होगा, नहीं, एक्स फैक्ट्री में इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस इंक्लूड होगा। बिकॉज अप टू द फैक्ट्री गेट अगर कुछ रिपेयर वगैरह करना है, कुछ टेस्टिंग करना है, देन इट विल गेट इंक्लूडेड। So my mobile number is 9886 111 814। Who have any queries, you could just text me. So I will see if I could answer। Great, Priyanka. Good to know that you have got back your confidence based on this topic. And yeah, thanks to the institute as well as all the teachers. That's very nice of you। कन्हैया सिंह, आपको मिल गया डिटेल्स? मितेश भाई, एक और इलिस्ट्रेशन क्लियर नाउ। ज्योति, 9886 111 814। ओके। See, Pranav, you have to understand in case of X factory, only delivery is excluded because I am delivering up to the factory yet. Matlab, whatever I have to do to keep the good in deliverable position, that I am doing. Okay, so till that stage, except delivery, everything has to do. So that will be there. All the other charges will be included. Only the transportation and all those things will be excluded. And if you're not getting the questions of this and the exemptions, I have given the details. So please reach out to me. I will talk to the BOS and just see that it gets reached to each of you. And it means it will get uploaded on the portal then. Okay, thank you very much. I really enjoyed teaching this session, and we will hopefully meet once again. And all the best for your exams. People who are writing in May 2023, writing one group or both groups, you make your decision. If you're confident enough, write both the groups. If you're not confident enough, then try for the first group, complete it, then try for the second group, or try for the second group if you're really interested in direct taxes and taxation papers and other things. Then take it in the second group first, then you could go for the first group. Renuja, transaction value can be included with non-monetary. Yes, it could be included with non-monetary also. Okay. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, Dhyanesh. Thank you, Kanakarini. Thank you, Ramnivas. So many other names I've seen. Abhishek Pandey, Ikrar, Vindhyanbu, Jyoti, Nikita Sachdev, Priyanka, Sapna, Ramnivas. So many people. Thank you all for your best wishes and all the very best. Please do it with confidence. Your exams is just not a tough thing. It is not rocket science. So many CAs I have cleared. You can also clear it, and you can do it. Great. Thank you, Sapna. If you have understood it very perfectly and clearly, that clarity has to reflect in your papers. You also have to be clear and crisp. Study with confidence, and you will achieve it. It is definitely possible. CA means certainly achievable. That's the full form of CA. Thank you, Kabit. Thank you, Harshita. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Mitesh Bhai. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support.